Now today we are going to start with the disadvantages of division of labor. Now what is the first one in this? First is monotonous job. Now what do you mean by monotonous job? Monotonous job means same kind of job. Suppose if there is a specialization of labor, what will happen? I will give you one single task to perform. Now you will continuously performing that single task. Fine, that will be your routine. Now what will happen? You will get bored. Okay, doing same task repeatedly, you'll be bored, and that will reduce your productivity. Okay, next is retarded development of workers' personality. Now if I'll do a same kind of job, I will not be able to learn the different kind of job. That means the different task of this job. I'll be involved in one only. So what will happen? My development will be stopped. It will be sticked, and I will not get proper satisfaction. Fine, I'll not get proper training. I'll be just doing one kind of job only. Next is retards craftsmanship. Now what do you mean by retard craftsmanship? As I am stick to only one part of the job, I don't have the complete knowledge of the job. Now if I don't have a complete knowledge of carrying out something, what I will not do? I will not implement my own ideas. I will not invent something different. So that is, there won't be any extra inventions. It will be same kind of job which will be or you can say same kind of product which will be produced. There won't be any changes. Then next is high degree of interdependence. Now all the departments in this are connected to each other. Suppose if I'll give to make a shoe, upper layer to somebody else, then lower layer to somebody else, and then connecting all those to somebody else. Now there are three parts which has been divided. Now all these three department has to be coordinated. Fine. If suppose one will not work out perfectly, the other will not be able to perform. So what to perform, to get the work done completely, all the three department has to work out simultaneously, because they are connected to each other. So that is high degree of interdependence. Now next is lack of motivation. Now what do you mean by lack of motivation? Suppose if I am producing one kind of goods only, one particular kind of trend, I am involved in one task. Okay, as I told you, suppose I am fitting a car tire. So I am been fitting a car tire since years. So what will happen? I will not be able to get the complete knowledge of the product. So even I will not get the complete credit of making a particular product. So I won't be motivated. Why? Because I won't get any achievement in that. I don't get any credit in that job. Everyone likes to get the credit for their job what they do. So that is why they lack motivation in that. Next is lack of responsibility. Now if you are entitled to complete one task, that is complete your responsibility, no doubt you will work out more. Why? Because that is completely your responsibility, your work, your credit, your name. Now when I know I am just doing one part, I am not been getting the whole credit, or I'm not responsible for whole task. So what will I do? I will just carry out as a duty. Now I won't be able to understand my responsibility in that, or I won't be performing my duty as a responsibility. Okay, now we'll start with the next topic, that is efficiency of labor. Efficiency, in this we will first learn the meaning of efficiency of labor. Now what is efficiency of labor means? Efficiency of labor means productive capacity of a worker. Okay, so it is your capability to work, or you can say labor's capability to work, or better work, both. Okay, during a given period of time. That means it even calculates at a particular time. Fine, on that particular time what productivity you are giving, that is your efficiency. Other things remaining the same. Now what are the other things? Other things means, in case of labor you can say the wages of labor, or you can say the atmosphere, the circumstances, every rest of the things we will study everything. Okay, right now we need to know apart from your efficiency, or you can say apart from your capability, everything is other things. Now if worker produce more than the other worker, see, this is a comparison between two. Okay, so if one worker is producing more than the other worker, that is the efficiency of the worker. Suppose like two students are there, right? So if one student is going have the capability to give better results, so that is his or her efficiency of study. Okay, now this the efficiency of labor has the following aspects means criteria which they fall in. Now first is the quality, or you can say the quantity of output produced by a worker. Now how I will calculate their efficiency, or how I will check their efficiency? First is how I will check. I will check out how much they are producing, what is the quantity they produce. Next is the quantity of the product produced by a worker, quality. First is quantity, second is quality. Okay, now then third is time. That means how much time you are taking to perform your duty or to produce a product. Okay, do remember three aspects. That means on three grounds I check the efficiency. First ground is your quantity of output, how much you are producing, quantity. Second, quality of output. That means what is the quality which you are giving. It is better, average, or bad quality. Then third, what time duration you are taking, in how much time you are being able to complete your tasks. So this all is calculated in the efficiency, or you can say these are the aspects of the efficiency of labor. Now our next topic is causes of low efficiency of labor in India. What are the main reasons why in India the labor performs less or their efficiency is less? First is hot climate. You all know the climatic condition in India. India is what kind of country? It is a subtropical country. Okay, and its climate is hot. So this is the most important natural cause. You know, in hot climate you don't feel like working. You get exhausted very fast. So that is first reason. Second is low wages. The wages which Indian laborers get, you know, that is very low. Why? Because population is very high. There is so much of competition. Fine. So just because of that, people are not ready to work, or you can say they are not willing to work. They are not efficient. They don't want to perform efficiently. Okay, just they complete their task. That's all. Incongenial environment. Next is what? Incongenial environment. Now what do you mean by incongenial environment? Now Indian workers have to work under very unhygienic condition. Now you know very well how factories are working. Many factories in India, they have a very bad situation, very bad condition, unhygienic condition. Now still the workers are working in that. They don't have any recreation, they are tired, they are not relaxing. So all these are the cause of low productivity. Now poor technology. We know very well in India that technology which is available is what? It's of very low quality. So what happened? Just because of that, the performance, or you can say the product which is being produced is no doubt of poor standard. Okay, and if the standard is quality is poor, again I told you three circumstances, three criteria are there, three aspects are there. So what happened? The third one criteria will not be fulfilled, and if one criteria is not fulfilled, no doubt efficiency of labor will be low. Now next reason for low efficiency is migratory character. Now what do you mean by migratory character? In India, you know, the laborers, they move from one place to another, they migrate. Okay, so in such cases also the efficiency reduces. Suppose we are moving from one place, my native place, to somewhere else. So what happened? I don't have any belongings, anything. I will start my life fresh. Somewhere it will affect my efficiency. Okay, so this is also one of the main cause. Next is education and training. In India, the laborers are less educated and unskilled. Fine, they are not properly trained. That is another reason for the low efficiency of labor in India. Now we are moving on to the next topic, capital and capital formation. In this, first we will study meaning of capital. Now what do you mean by capital? Capital is defined as the stock of that reproducible or man-made durable goods that are used as input to produce other goods and services in the future rather than being consumed for its own sake. Okay, so what is capital in this? Capital means any reproducing goods. Okay, the one which has been reproduced or which has been made by the man. Okay, it is a durable goods, or you can say it is a input. Input means the one which you are using for production purpose of other goods and services, any other goods and services. Okay, it's not for your own consumption. You are not keeping it for your own consumption, rather you are using it for the production purpose which you will sell it in a future. So that is what it is, capital. Okay, now types of capital, we all know very well types of capital, fixed capital and working capital. Now what is the fixed capital? Fixed capital means the capital which we have fixed in our hand. Okay, it cannot change. Fine, like land, if I have 2 acres of land, that is fixed in my hand. Okay, it will not change. Now working capital means immediate money which I have. Suppose I have $100, $1,000, whatever I have at that point of time, it will work out. It will be totally in circulation. That is why working capital is also known as a circulating capital. Okay, now we'll move on to the meaning of real or physical capital. Now what do you mean by real or physical capital? Real capital consists of tangible physical goods that are used as inputs. Do remember, real capital are those goods which are tangible. Tangible means which you can touch, which you can touch and see. Okay, now those kind of inputs which are being used to produce other goods and services in the future. Now it consists of firms' physical assets like plants. Now what do you mean by plants? Plants means big machineries, which big projects which they are implementing, equipments, tools, machineries, factories. That is what I said, the goods which are real in terms, which you can see, which you can touch. Okay, that is physical capital, or you can say real capital. Okay, next is financial capital. Now what do you mean by financial capital? Financial capital means those financial resources used to buy physical capital. So whatever resources, suppose money you are using to buy goods, or sorry, not goods, machinery. Okay, so what is that? That is a financial resource. So any such kind of goods which you, or any such kind of thing which you are using to buy physical capital, that is your financial resource. So financial resource, or you can say liquid assets, they consist of money, bond, stock and other securities. Now we'll move on to the characteristics of capital. Now what are the characteristics of capital? First is capital is man-made. We all know capital, whichever is available in the form of money or free gifts of nature or whatever it is created by man. Okay, it is not money, you will not get free of cost from God. Okay, you have to earn it. So that is what it is, man-made. Capital is durable. Now what do you mean by durable? Durable means lasting. Okay, so what you can do, like machinery. Okay, it is a capital which is in your hand. That is something which you can exchange in place of money or exchange in any kind of goods, with any kind of goods. So it is durable. Okay. Next is capital is a passive factor. Passive factor means, it's a passive means it is a silent factor. Okay, it won't work out on their own. You have to implement it, you have to work for it. Okay, next is it is a mobile factor. Mobile factor means it is movable. You can move it from one place to another. Suppose I want this machinery to be shifted to somewhere else to work out. No doubt I can shift it, no problem. Okay, so it is a mobile factor. Then supply of capital is elastic. Now what do you mean by elastic? That means it is not fixed. Okay, it can expanded also, it can be decreased also. It all depends. Now next is capital is subject to depreciation. Depreciation means the value of the capital goes on decreasing. Suppose I purchased a machinery 2 years back, okay, that cost 1 lakh rupee. Now after 2 years, will the value of that machinery be same? No. It will be deteriorated. That means it will be reduced. It will be depreciated. Next is capital is the result of past saving. Past saving means the previous saving, whatever you have stock. Okay. So no doubt if you have good saving in your hands previously, right now the capital will in your hand will be good. Okay. So that is capital is the result of past saving, whatever you have in your past.